week's been a little bit busy. Sorry, we got zoom in real quick. Okay, so here we go with the players, the starts and sits that we like. All right, who we're jumping, who we're sitting, what we're doing. All right, quarterback position. Number one player. All right, we have Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is obviously a good start. Same thing with Lamar, Jalen. I want to go down here to Kyler Murray. I've seen a few people saying to sit him because of his record on the road, but he's someone that you should look to start. He definitely has tons of upside, especially with rushing. His team is coming off a bye, so I would start Kyler. Like Bo Nix. Bo Nix is that guy that's been shocking everyone. And if he's out there and you need someone to start because of buys or injuries, Bo Nix is great. All right, let's get down to the guy that the arrow's pointing up on, but I am saying no to, which is Anthony Richardson. Okay, last week he did all right, but Detroit will definitely do what the other team tried, which is daring him to beat them with his arm. And Richardson has yet to show he can pass at a high completion percentage level. So I actually would have Richardson down here in this range with Matthew Stafford and Darnell. All right, moving on, we have Geno Smith. Geno Smith is who I like to call the Alamo. I go with Geno anytime I have a bunch of buys and there's no one else available. So definitely think there's no issues going with Geno. Baker Mayfield, if you didn't know, he's getting Evans back. Plus, he's actually been decent even without his top few options. Okay, who do we like to sit getting in this area? Caleb, I think you sit. Honestly, of this whole group, I think because of the buy situation and stuff, you can play. The ones I am not touching. All right. I am not going to be touching down here Tommy DeVito. I just don't think you want to take that chance. Will Levis, I'm not starting him. Honestly, of this group, if I had to, I'd probably go. Oh man, Cooper Rush because Washington's defense. But honestly, I would almost rather have a position player when I'm in Superflex and start one of these guys on the bottom. Moving on to the running back position. Okay. Saquon, they had the arrow down on McCaffrey. I know that's because Purdy is out, but honestly, I think this is a game that they try to unleash him. It's going to be a little bit chilly up in Green Bay, and I can see them just force feeding McCaffrey over and over and him having his best game of the season. A Chain, if you do not know, he is a top five guy anytime two is there. So two is starting, plug him in. Henry. On our start sit video we released yesterday, I told you temper expectations. All right. The Chargers are a fantastic defense under Harbaugh, and Henry didn't hit his target for points last week, and I see him not to do it this week. Doesn't mean you don't start Henry, but I think that you should temper your expectations. He's probably not going to give you the 16 points that you want. He'll probably be closer to 10 points. Walker, Kyron. Kyron has been underperforming. I hope he has a good game. Herbert or Kyler? Very good question. I am definitely going with Herbert out of those two. I like him a little bit better. Actually, no, sorry, looking at the injury report. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling on my phone. With the uncertainty around Lad McConkey, I go with Kyler. It looks like Lad's going to play, but I would go with Kyler just for the fact that if Herbert doesn't have his number one, and they already lean on Dobbins. So sorry, let's just roll with Kyler. On to Kyron Williams. He's been underperforming and hopefully he bounces back. It's been two games in a row. He actually caused me to get knocked out of a guillotine league 2 weeks ago. I do like him. I think Philadelphia should give up some easy yards to him, especially with their linebackers only being so. Their secondary's improved. So look for Kyron to actually have a decent game. Same thing, David Montgomery, Gibbs. Those are easy starts. Hunt, all right, Hunt. This is probably his last game that he's going to be viable for you guys. If you're counting on him to be a big guy in your offense, he is going to be sharing the backfield with Pacheco starting next week, which will be a plan. They will give more and more to Pacheco so they get him ready for the playoffs. Josh Jacobs, easy. Gibbs, I don't like the arrow down on Gibbs. I think he's a top 10. Jonathan Taylor, this is another guy that I said is a sit. Okay, Detroit is going to stack the box. Myers Worthy would get. How many am I picking out of this, Matt? Let me know, and then I will tell you the ones that I like. The first one that I like is probably going to be Myers, followed by, let's see here, followed by Worthy, honestly. But is it two? Is it three? How many am I picking out of that? But it probably goes Myers and Worthy. Okay, on to Jonathan Taylor. Taylor had a not good game last week, honestly, and I predicted it. I'm predicting again this week. Detroit is going to dare Indy to pass. Brian Robinson, the guy everyone sleeps on, just one full PPR. Full PPR. There we go. Goes Myers in. It's definitely Myers and Worthy. Kind of the way you have it listed out, if that helps confirm what you're thinking, Matt. Brian Robinson, interesting fact for anyone watching this, and I'm kind of like, if you take away Dallas, which is just crap, so you need to start Brian Robinson, I actually have him in my top 10 ahead of like Kareem Hunt. But every single game, every game that he has played the full game, he has beat his point projections. People are sleeping on Brian Robinson, which is great for daily and different things because you're getting such great value with him. All right, moving on. Tracy versus Tampa Bay. I do think that they can pass the ball a little bit better. That's why they made the switch to DeVito, but Tracy should be fine. Definitely have him as a start. Ramondre Stevenson, he's another one as long as he's not fumbling, and he is the focal point. As you see, they have him as a 5-star. So I would have him over like Taylor right now. I know Najee already played, but I'd have him over Najee if it wasn't for that. Chuba's going to have tough sledding against KC, and their rookie is going to get some carries, so watch out for that. J.K. Dobbins, this is one I want to highlight as well. I would have him starting, especially above, again, this Najee range. I would start him above Kareem Hunt. I would even debate starting him over Taylor, just to be honest. That's how much I like J.K. Dobbins against a not good Baltimore defense. Bucky Irving is definitely a start at the flex position if you need to. Rico, when you watch the Cowboys, he is the best back completely on that team. It sucks the Cowboys waited so long to start to try to unleash Dallas. Looking down, if you're in bye week injury hell or anything else, Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards has gone 10 plus touches back to back. So if you need it, you can definitely add him in this range. Amir Abdullah, he is starting against Denver. He's their top running back right now. He's never been that great in the league, but against Denver, who is super tough, I would definitely not look to add him. I would rather see what Jonathan Brooks, Roshan Johnson, that's someone else. He could probably vulture a touchdown. So that's how I'm looking if you're kind of like in this desperation area. Okay, moving on, guys, to the wide receiver position. Uh, I usually don't spend too much time on the top. Love all these guys. Justin Jefferson, I definitely see the arrows nothing but up. Puka Nakua, even against Philly's improved secondary, you definitely have to start him. Tyreek Hill, he's someone you're starting, but I would love to see him finally have an explosive game. I get it, his wrist is injured, and so he probably won't be right for the whole rest of the season, but I would love just to see that he can still have those crazy explosive games. DK Metcalf, definitely a start. Look for him to hopefully connect on a few deep balls. CD, he just gets force fed the ball so much. He's a start because of volume. Mike Evans coming back. Definitely the number one there. Definitely like him in the top 15 for sure. Debo Samuels. He's the one I would have the arrow pointing down the most with the Green Bay game. I would rather see like maybe Jennings a little bit better of a route runner. If Debo does have a good game, it'll be because he's doing some gadgety type stuff. So I definitely would move Debo down. Neighbors, look for him just to get tons of volume, hopefully get back on track. We're going to go with Cortland Sutton. Hopefully you rode out his little mini slump about 4 or 5 weeks ago, because since then he has been phenomenal. Out of 11 games this year, he's definitely been fantasy viable 8 to 9 of those 11 games. So he's someone that I almost think you plug and play, especially against Las Vegas. Zay Flowers, he is a start. Look for him to be probably closer to a wide receiver this 3 this week because again the Chargers are so tough. McLaurin, I like McLaurin above Debo. I'd probably put him over there. It's against a terrible Cowboys secondary, so I would raise Scary Terry closer to that number 12 range. Lad McConkey, I want to zero in on him. If you do not know, he is questionable and it's like a serious questionable. You need to make sure you have, if you're going to roll with him in your lineup, try to make sure that Palmer, Quinn Johnson, if you got to go with Bates or someone, just make sure you have options in case he is a scratch tomorrow. But if he is healthy, I definitely like him as a full go. Jaden Reed, man, the Packers are my team, but the way they are running that offense, it reminds me of Breeze in the mid 2000s when you never knew who was going to blow up. If you're old enough to remember all that craziness with like, oh, I'm blanking on the names of some of those wide receivers, but there we go. Jaden Reed, I think he's a start. He does get touches and volume. They manufacture touches for him. I do like Calvin Ridley as a start as well. Obviously, Marvin Harris, Jamison Williams. It is so fascinating to see what he does with like 4 targets and how he rips off like 70 yards. So hopefully he stays out of trouble to help you guys with your fantasy playoff push. Let's move down. Jawan Jennings, he is someone that if you're looking for a flex wide receiver 3, I would have him as a start. Jonnu Smith or TJ Hawkinson? Great question. I like Jonnu Smith because they are playing the Patriots, and Jonnu is kind of ascended to the number 2 option. I don't know what's up with Waddle, but I do like Jonnu Smith. He's always had that athletic talent, and it looks like with Tua that they're kind of connecting. TJ Hawkinson, definitely, if you have both of these on your team, I would definitely not drop one of them. But against a pretty good Bears secondary, look for them to kind of shut him down and take away that middle. So that's what I would do. I'd start Jonnu, but definitely do not drop either one of those tight ends. DJ Moore, a little bit of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He's no problem. Glad to help. DJ Moore, it's just he's sitting in that range that I think we all hate. He's around that 7 points. You know that's what he's gonna get, but his ceiling just has not been there with Caleb Williams. So I would probably look to start someone like DeAndre Hopkins above him. I would start Josh Downs. Let's see here. I right now actually have Roma Dunze above DJ Moore this week. So that's where I'm at with that. We talked about this earlier. Jacoby Myers. I mean, it is a super tough matchup, but Jacoby, he is just going to get force fed the ball. Let's see here. Aaron Jones, Tracy, or Bucky, full PPR. For full PPR, I'm going with Tracy just because of the sheer number of targets and just his role. I mean, he is just so explosive with the Giants. Are we starting just one? Or are we starting 2 or 3? Let me know, Steven. Okay, Waddle, as I said, I do not know what is quite up with him. I talked about that a little earlier at the Johnu question. So I would be moving him down. I actually probably put Worthy, who I'm a personal hater of because he's MVS with just maybe a little bit better hands. Keep going down, down, down. Bateman, someone keep an eye on. Like I said, if McConkey is out, that's someone you need to probably scoop up. One already have. Okay. Yeah. So of those 3, I'm going Tracy. Let's see here. Any other ones I want to just highlight? NWI, definitely someone, if you have a flex need or wide receiver 3, you're in a super deep league, I would be adding him. Palmer is a guy I'm queuing in on. If Ladd is not starting, that is who you want because he then becomes a security blanket for Herbert. Let's see here. Moving on, guys. Just trying to give you some options again. Thielen, I actually like Thielen to kind of go back to his role he had last year as the number 1 after they got rid of Deontay Johnson. So if it's not this week because they are against Kansas, Thielen's someone I've been stashing away a little bit just to see if they rekindle that magic. In this group, the last one I'd kind of tell you to start if you need it to for points would probably be John Michie. He's kind of just start finding this role as a number three. Thought it would be Schultz, but it's become John Michie. All right, let's move on to the tight end position, guys. Travis Kelsey, I'm actually kind of shocked to have him number one against this Carolina, but he just does not have the explosiveness. Jonathan Taylor or Stevenson, I'm going with Stevenson. Taylor, I'm not a believer in this week. I think Detroit does same thing last week. They're going to dare Richardson to beat him with his arm, and that also means that when Richardson has to run, he'll just tuck the ball. Um, like by far. I mean, if I had to kind of give you a point, I would say I'm like an 8 on Stevenson and Jonathan Taylor this week. I'm around a 5 if we're doing like a 1 to 10 points to kind of give you. So I mean, I got a decent enough gap between the two of them. Brock Bowers, I think that's who's number one, even against Denver. I mean, this guy is just crazy phenomenal. It'll be interesting to see what happens when or if Las Vegas ever gets him a quarterback. Trey McBride, definitely the arrow pointing up. George Kittle, I look for him to kind of be the security blanket with Allen started. He just runs those crisp routes and being across the middle. Now, the downside is Trent Williams might not be starting. If that's the case, Kittle's going to have to be doing a lot of chipping. So that would be the one thing I'm looking out for real quick. K Dot, definitely the number two wide receiver. That's a easy. If you do not know, Skinny Batman is out. So Dallas Goddard should be running up your boards. Okay, Dallas Goddard is the guy that you should be looking to add and start. Definitely have him, close to his top five. I agree with this 100%. Let's see here. Who would you start rest of the year between Taysom Hill, Kyle Pitts, and Will Disley? Being completely honest, it's Kyle Pitts. Taysom Hill, he has shown the blow up game that he had last week over and over for the last few years since they've had him in that multi-dual role. He's just way too unreliable. He's more likely to give you under 2 points than the blow-up game. Kyle Pitts, I really do hate the inconsistency with him, but he does have a little bit of a floor this year, and his ceiling's pretty good. With Will Disley, I just think he has. In order it goes Kyle Pitts, Will Disley, Taysom Hill. That's how I would do it. Will Disley does have kind of a decent floor showing that he's around that 4 point range. But if you're going with Will Disley, I would rather have like a Zach Ertz, Tucker Kraft, even Fryermuth, some of those people that have been dropped that are out there, which we'll get into. Jonnu Smith, I definitely think he is becoming the number two pass catcher, so look to add him. Sam Laporta, the disappointing season that is Sam, I actually think he has an okay game. Look for him to have at least 8 points. We talked about TJ Hawkinson earlier. I think the arrow will be a little bit down against Chicago's good D. I just think he'll be closer between the 5 to 6 points. Mark Andrews, this is someone I expect to have a tough game. Why? Because Andrews is not their first, maybe not even their second. It's more just that big red zone threat this year. And against the Chargers, they will clamp down on him. Zach Ertz is someone I do like, and definitely with him being the number two. Tucker Kraft, look for him to probably have a bounce back from his 0 point game, but he is a little too boomer bust, especially if you have a team that is struggling right now. Let's see here. PPR, Flowers or JSN? Oh, it's JSN. I definitely think that is a way to go. Arizona's defense is more of a ball hawking. That's how they've been decent and stuff, but I think their secondary is still super weak. Where Flowers, he is their number one kind of pass catcher, but it's again a little too inconsistent. And with the Chargers being the team, I look for them to clamp down. I mean, the Chargers have a very good defense people are sleeping on. Yeah, exactly. The guy in the comment right below me, JSN. I'm glad we all agree on that. Okay, Isaiah Likely. That is probably who I'm even thinking over Andrews on this, just because of his explosiveness. Let's see here. Honestly, if you're getting down to this area that's available, Firemoose Secretary played. Luke Schoonmaker, it looks like he has a little bit of a connection, probably because him and Cooper were on the backup squad together. So that might be your emergency tight end if you need one. I'm sorry, Zaya. I thought I'd answer this. I went Kyle Pitts, then Will Disley, and then Taysom Hill. So, but it's Kyle Pitts for me. Taysom Hill, I just don't trust. Full PPR, Roma Dunze or Tank Dell. Probably Tank Dell. The explosiveness, he does not need the same volume as Roma Dunze. He only needs 4 catches, and you're going to be happy with the results. So I'm definitely going with Tank Dell. He just has such a higher ceiling. I would say their floors are almost close, but then when their floors are close, you go with the ceiling. The ceiling is definitely Tank Dell of the two of those. Pick one for this week between Thielen, Pearsall. Oh man, and then the Denver running. It out of that list, I'm going Thielen, kind of closing my eyes. I mean, they're playing the Chiefs. Uh, Ricky, he hasn't done too well the last few weeks, and they don't have their starting quarterback. Uh, I think it's still Williams' backfield. Man, you really do have a rough situation. If you have anyone else that you could maybe start, throw it in the comment. But of those three, I'm closing my eyes and going with Thielen just because of the fact we've seen what he does with Young. They just have a good connection. So I'd close my eyes and put Thielen in. All right, let's move on to defenses really quickly, and then we will talk about the games that we like so you guys can hopefully place a few bets. All right, all these are easy, easy, easy. First one I want to talk about to kind of give you some confidence is the Bears against Minnesota. Sam's been struggling, kind of afraid to let it rip, so I think you start the Bears and don't have an issue. The Packers against San Francisco, I think they should also be in that easy start. They don't have their starting quarterback. I could pick up, oh yeah, definitely pick up uh, Westbrook in Akina. That's who else I would do. I would probably drop. You know what? All those have just such upside. But if you're weak at running back, I wouldn't drop Esme, but I would think of those. Drop Pearsall and definitely roll with Westbrook. That's who I would go with. He looks like he's starting to become the number 2 pass catcher in an okay offense. Packers though should be an easy start. Cardinals, if you're rolling the dice, they have been a team that has boomed or bust. In Seattle, they're only okay. So I would definitely, if I needed a home run. Anyone down here, I'm going to highlight for you. The Chargers being slept on over and over again. If I needed a desperation defense this week to pick up, I would be the Chargers. Okay, quickly getting into the games, the bets that we like, whether or not it's going to be the over under. Let me adjust again, guys. I apologize when I do this. Okay, so here we go. We have the Cowboys and Commanders. It is the Commanders all day long. I do not ever like giving 10.5 points if you follow us. So I would try to tease that down, but I think you can get away with 7.5. I'd feel safe at 6.5, but it is the Commanders. Next, we have the Patriots and the Dolphins. I like the Patriots in the plus 7.5, so that's where I would go with that. On to the Vikings and the Bears. I definitely like the Vikings in the money line. That's the way I would go with that. And then the over under at 39.5. I'm probably going the over for that. Titans, Texans. It is the Texans. I'm not giving 8 points. Again, if you follow this channel, I don't like anything over 7. I'm definitely thinking about lowering that. I would feel comfortable with that again, just at 6.5, just to make sure that you have that little bit extra cushion. That's where I'm going. Buccaneers, Giants. And it's at the Giants, so it is cold up there. I think the Buccaneers cover the 6.5, so that's where I'm going. The over under, if I knew Mr. Cutlets was going to even be okay, I would say take the over. Gut feel, if you want to, go with the over. Chiefs, Panthers, it's the Chiefs all day long. Again, what I said, you see that 11. I think this is the one you could, again, tease down 6.5. Let's see here. Moving on quickly. Lions and the Colts. This has the highest over under. I think you can definitely do the Lions. Tease it again 6.5, and that's where I'm at with that. Broncos and Raiders. It is the Broncos. You can easily just take the Broncos and the minus 5.5, in my opinion. Packers, 49ers. Packers, definitely go ahead and take them in the -6. The over under, I'm going the over for the 44 and a half, just because, like I said, I think McCaffrey's going to try to make it a competent game. Quickly moving on, we have the Cardinals and the Seahawks. This one's going to be close, but my gut says the Cardinals, so I am going to take them in the -1. And then the Sunday night game. Sunday night game, we have the Eagles and the Rams. People are sleeping on the Rams. So what I would do is I would go the Rams plus the 3, and I would do the over of 49, just looking at the wind and stuff before the game kicks off, but take the Rams and the 3 points. Okay, we quickly have a few more minutes, guys. Let me go ahead and get Monday's game for you. So the last game, scrolling through here tomorrow. All right, Ravens Chargers, the Harbaugh Bowl. I think the Chargers and the 2.5. That's where I'm going with that all day. I'm not probably touching the over or under because I can see this becoming a very grinded out. The brothers just playing that hard nosed football game. So I guess if I went with one, it'd be the under the 51, but I definitely like the Chargers in the plus 2.5. Thank you guys so much. Games are about to kick off. Let's see here. Oh, Kyler or Herbert. Thanks. Good luck. Yep, definitely. Of those two, like I said, I'm going with Kyler just because with Herbert, we do not know if Lad McConkey, and for that reason, I'm going with Kyler. So that's where we're at. Again, thank you guys for the questions and everything. We do this every Sunday, and we drop videos a few times a week. We're the Degenerate Gambling Life, and see you guys next week.